Hey guys, what's up? Glass cutters is going to be the main topic today. So what we're going to be doing today is a review of all these glass cutters that's available for us from Toyo. And we'll check out how each of these work and also the differences between them. Yeah, I got in touch with Toyo and it turns out that they have a partnership with GAI, who is the distributor for them for Toyo's North America. And the good folks at GAI sent me these items for us to review, but I also got some other stuff as well. So we've got a bag of cutting oil, we've got some brochures for some different accessories and items that they have. But also when I reached out to them, they also knew that I was doing some giveaways for some cutters. So they've kindly given us some of their cutters for some giveaways. And we'll get to this later and I'll explain how you'll get a chance to win one of these Toyo super cutters. So that's what we're working with today. We have the best cutters out there that we're going to be reviewing. And so by the end of this video, hopefully you'll have a better understanding of each cutter and also which one best fits you. So that's the goal today. I'm excited to try this out. Let's get going and get this set up. So we're looking at the entire line of Toyo glass cutters that's available. This is mainly for the art glass side of things. So let's go over each one real quick, but we'll dive deeper into each of them later on. Okay, so this one right here is the Toyo TC22 and it is called the dry wheel. So the main thing that stands out on this one is that there is no oil chamber. This one you'll have to dip the oil as you're using it versus the rest of them where you actually can put oil inside the chamber. So this one is pretty lightweight and also I like the contoured handle. So I'll be curious to see how this feels compared to the other ones. So the next one we have is the TC10B. So this one has been around the longest. It's got the nice straight classic look. You can also fill the oil in this chamber and we'll see how this feels and compares to the rest of them. The next we have the plastic version of that. This is the TC10P and you get the see-through effect for your oil. So we'll see how this one works. And next up is what's called the comfort grip. You can see the main difference on this one is the contoured handle. It is a little bit smaller, just a slight variation on this one from the TC10P. So this one is actually one that I own. I have the blue version of it. It's meant to be very customizable, hence its name, the custom grip, and it also has a different type of blade. We'll cover that more in depth in a little bit here. Now this one is a very special one. It looks completely weird and different than the rest of them. The blade is the same as the smooth rolling ones. We'll get more into details on that. This one I'm really excited to try just because it just looks funky and somehow I feel like it's gonna work really well with me, so we'll take a look. And this one of course is the pistol grip, a very popular one. A lot of people seem to like this one just because of the way that you can grip it. Is supposed to help out with hand fatigue and also people with arthritis and different things like that. You can tell the design was well thought out, definitely something that seems to hit a home run with most people, so I'm really excited to try this one out and see if it lives up to all the hype. And the final one that we have here is the TC70P. And the main special thing about this cutter is that it's got a special blade on it. This is the newest model that Toyo has come out with. I hear it's catching on, it's getting some great reviews. So we'll see how this new technology compares to the rest of them. So from the looks of it, this one has a very long handle. I like how it's lightweight. The handle is pretty much plastic, but it's got this wood grain on the outside, so somewhat of a nicer finished look to it. And it's got that contoured tip at the end. This has the two notches right here, so you can place your forefinger and thumb. So you're holding it pretty much like a pen as you're writing. And I like this brass section over here. It's quite long and it gives it a little bit of a style to it. The cutting wheel itself for all of these are pattern heads, and actually GAI was responsible for slimming down that straight head to turning it into a pattern head, so it is a lot easier to work with and to maneuver around when you're working with art glass. The blade is a smooth rolling wheel. All the blades are tungsten carbide blade wheels versus the steel that was very popular and widely used back then. So GAI is credited for bringing the pattern head and also using the tungsten carbide to use as a blade. So it being a dry wheel, it does not have a chamber. Let's take one of these. So we got a nice bottle of cutting oil right there. So something about oils is that it is recommended that you use oil with your cutter and also every time you cut. Main reasons for it is that it keeps the tool longer, keeps it from rusting, and there are theories why you should be using oil when you're cutting. And they say it is because it keeps the score open, the oil fills in the score, and then you'll have a better run with it. But in any case, there are differences in oil and viscosity. Just pay attention to what you're using. This is obviously formulated to be used with all their products. And I was told you can also use this as general lubrication in machines and doors and things like that. But the main thing I should point out is that not all oils are the same. You will run into oils gumming up your blade, the cutting wheel. I know a lot of people use kerosene if they can't use oil, but that also seems to gum up things as well. So it's up to you, whatever you want to use. Just make sure that it is something that is probably meant to use for cutting. And because this one does not have a chamber, I'll just apply it directly to the wheel. So I'll do a first cut of going straight, and we'll do a pull, and then I'll do a wavy cut doing a push for the curves. So overall, this is a very comfortable handle. I like the length of it, and I felt like I didn't need to press down too hard on that one to get that good score. Don't know if we mentioned it, but this one, the head is not compressible, but this one was made to be the most budget friendly. There is no fancy chamber, and it's just a nice and straight, simple cutter. So next up, this one is the TC10B, stands for the brass. This is probably the heaviest of them all. It feels very sturdy, very strong, and you have the entire knurled barrel. You're not going to slip on this one. That's how I feel about it right now. The brass section is a little bit smaller, so I feel that I'm a little bit closer to the blade, where this one is probably about 2 inches versus this one, where if I hold it down, it's only about 1.5 inches. So let's put some oil in this and let's try it out. So if you guys can see this screw right here where you cap it, it's got a flat point, a flat part of it. So what that does is when you screw it into the barrel, and there's a gasket O-ring right here. So if you cap it and you close it off, that's going to keep it airtight within this chamber. So that oil will not flow down into the wick if you don't release this lid. So if you open it up a bit, when you open it, that flat part of the screw allows the air to go inside the chamber. So you don't need to uncap it, you just need to open up a little bit like a valve, and then the air will flow through, and that will allow that oil to travel into the wick. Then it touches the cutting wheel. But also it's got like a spring inside the cutter, so when you push it down, that's when the wick will actually touch the wheel. Hopefully you can see there's like a little gap in between the wheel and the wick. Hey, probably not the glass cutter's fault, but the user's fault. Still trying to get a feel for it, so. But overall, this one to me feels like it's just gonna last forever. I like the chamber for the oil, and the spring action was pretty comfortable, so a very nice feature, and just feels like a sturdy, strong cutter overall. Okay, so our next one is the TC10P. On this one, it feels like it's just gonna move with you a lot easier. That's the first initial impression right now. I like this one because you can kind of gauge where your oil level is at. Let's just do a few drops. We don't need too much in there. So the oil fills into the chamber, the wick absorbs the oil, and then we have the compression, and I think we've got enough oil for now. On this one, I gotta mention that the threads on this tip end is not a comfortable spot to leave your finger on. I would probably move it down here, or we can move it up just right above the threads. So that felt pretty much like the same cut, except the handle part of it, I'm feeling it's a little bit more comfortable on the TCB. The entire barrel, that knurled barrel, just had a better grip for my preference. Overall, both of these feel pretty much the same, the TC10P and the TC10B, except for the differences in the handle. Okay, let's move on now to the comfort grip. This one was now designed to have this contoured end, but also there are these two notches for your fingers to hold, so it's not the rounded type. So it now feels like you have a better grip on this. Still swivels, but it doesn't compress in, so there's no spring action for this head. So let's add some oil first, and we'll see how it gets applied to the blade. So on this one, there is a wick that leads from the chamber all the way down to the tip end where the blade sits. You don't have the compressible head, but the wick is always there, so it's always going to be touching that blade. You don't need to press down on it to activate that oil. The barrel end on this is slimmer in diameter, so of course the screw cap on this one is also smaller, and so that cuts down on the weight as well. This one is appropriately named the Comfort Grip. I already like the feel of it. So this one feels to me the most like a pen or a pencil. Just the length of it, it feels very familiar. Basically just holding a pencil and drawing a line through the glass. So a very good and comfortable cutter. I like the notches and also how it sits on the hand. But let's keep going and check out the next one. Let's go with this one first. This very interesting looking cutter here. So this is called the TC9 Thomas grip. The look of it is completely unique. It's also a very tiny glass cutter. It feels like you can just kind of hide it and it just disappears. And they made it this way to mimic the leather working tool, the swivel knife. So the way to use it is to rest it on your palm, holding it pretty much like that. Kind of feels right, like the right size. And also, of course, this has the oil chamber. We've got the smooth rolling blade. It swivels and it does not compress. So let's add some oil. Let's do our straight cut first. Oh, that's amazing. This one is amazing. It just felt like I was right there. Very nice run. So a few things. First, it felt pretty good just going along it. The maneuverability of it, I felt that was great. The only thing that wasn't working for me was that this end point, this plastic tab, was digging into my palm. You might be able to see the redness right there. Maybe I was doing something different on it, but I'd like to try it again. Yeah, no pressure on this one for this time at all. Maybe the angling of it was different. I think you'd have to kind of pay attention to that. Super nice and clean. For this one, I feel like it's actually a really good beginner one, even though it's a little awkward. But the fact that you're right in there, you can kind of feel how it digs into the glass. I like this one a lot. But next up, I wanted to get into this new one here that was introduced and designed to be a little bit more comfortable. So the first thing I should point out is that this now has a different blade on it. It is called the TC21V for the vibration part of it, and it's called the tap wheel. It has micro notches inside the wheel, so every time you roll the wheel, you'll feel these tiny vibrations within that wheel, acting pretty much like a hammer drill as you're going along the glass. And that really is to help you score the line a lot easier and having to use less pressure. And moving along to this handle part of it, you're able to modify this to kind of best fit the way that you hold it. You'll have to release this cap at the end. That's also where you can fill up the oil. We'll remove that part. And now you actually can take this handle part of it and you can also flip it over and kind of have it rest, where if you were to put your palm down on it, if you had a bigger hand or you want it to be further away from this blade, you can do that. If you flip it back over, now we've dramatically shortened it, but also there is this plastic piece end that you're able to swap out. So I've had it placed right at the tip with the handle part of it. You can also take it out, bring that handle in, and if we were to close everything up, what we've done now is shorten this entire hold. So this is the smallest setting for this cutter. That was probably quite a bit there. So when this compresses, it releases the oil onto the blade. Nice and comfortable. I think it was a very good score. Yep, we got that. So yeah, this one to me just feels really natural. It feels comfortable. Nothing really bad to say about it, but let's keep moving on and check out the other ones. So now this one also has the tap wheel technology on it. So this one is probably the one that I've been wanting to try the most. So you don't need to fill as much oil to fill in this entire handle. Obviously that would just be crazy. It's way too much oil. I think I got enough oil in there. So for this cutter, I should mention that it does have a more advanced oiling system. It's got a spring-loaded cup in it, and in that cup there is a wick. So when it gets compressed, that's how the oil is released. And the angle of it, you can see, seems to follow the natural angle that you want. So let's see how this feels. Okay. Very nice. Oh wow. No effort at all. I didn't feel pain in the palm, in the hand. It felt very nice and natural and smooth. So I like this cutter. This is a very comfortable cutter. This one is definitely something I'm going to be using in the future just to get some more time on it. But let's put it down and we'll finish up with the last cutter that we have. This one is the TC70 track wheel, so it has the new track wheel technology on it. That's different than the tap wheel technology. The track wheel has these micro notches on the outside of the wheel acting to grip on the glass as you're scoring. So just to show you guys the difference between this TC70, the newer model, compared to the TC1, they both have the contoured handle, pretty much the same length of the barrel. The TC70 has this knurled brass section versus the other one where it is smoother. And then of course the main thing is that's the standard smooth rolling wheel, and this one has the track wheel on it. So let's see how this new thing works. So it's got that spring. I guess it felt like it was gripping. I didn't feel like it was gonna slide or slip on me. That was a nice clean cut. Let's try doing some curves on it. I feel like the blade on the bottom of some of those other ones, you can feel it kind of dig into the glass, whereas this one, I didn't really feel it go in, but just felt like it was there. For this one, the comfort part of it, I do like, and I am still a big fan of it. Let's see if we could do a few more cuts, see if there is something to be learned from it. Let's try the other one. Feels really quiet and soft. Too much pressure. So just a real soft score. The main difference between this one and this one, it's really hard to notice. Obviously you're going to get great results from either of these. So overall, not too big of a difference right now for me. Probably have to get some more time on this one. Overall, great cutters, and you wouldn't be disappointed with getting either of these. So we went through all these glass cutters, and you saw the many variations with all of them, and hopefully one of these stood out to you. The Thomas grip really stood out to me. I really liked the pistol grip, of course my custom grip one, and I've been a big fan of Toyo since I discovered them, so you can't go wrong with Toyo. Pretty much all of these are great cutters. Pick whichever one you think best fits you, and you're going to be pretty happy with it. So I'll leave links to these cutters so you can learn more about them, and also you can read up on some of the reviews and see what other people are saying about them, and some more informational stuff that are coming from GAI and Toyo. So we'll have some of those links for you. And also we got to thank them for sending these items to make this review possible. Now we have this replacement blade chart. It's a matrix of all the blades that we covered. It will show you which blade goes to which handle. Pretty much most are universal handles, but some are very specific to the blades. So that matrix will show you everything you need to know if you were to replace or upgrade or change blades. So I'll leave that link to that PDF down below, and you guys can take a look at that if you have any questions about which blade goes to which handle. Now let's get into this giveaway. I think this is gonna be a pretty good one. So in this box, we've got all these TC70P cutters, the ones with the track wheels, and I want to give out one of these as a giveaway, and it also comes with a dispenser, and the rest of them we'll leave for some giveaways down the road in the weeks to come. But also I want to throw in the sample bottle of the cutting oil, and also a brochure just so you guys could read up more about this stuff. So I'll send this out as a package, and if you'd like to enter to win, this is what you need to do. Number 1, hit that subscribe button and make sure that you are a subscriber. And number 2, get on my Instagram page and give me a follow on there. It is at StainedGlassDIY. And finally, leave me a comment and let me know what you're gonna do with this cutter. If you are a beginner, what's gonna be your first project? And if you've already started, what's gonna be your next project? So I will pick and announce the winner in the next video, so be sure to check in on that to see if you are the winner. So to wrap it up, I want to thank you guys for hanging around here, hanging out with me and learning more about these cutters, and hopefully you found one that you liked and something that could suit you. So guys, we are at over 8,000 subscribers right now and growing, and that is thanks to you for all your likes and comments and sharing, subscribing. You guys know how it all works. So thank you very much for all of that, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys again. Until next time, please take care.